Hello, and welcome to the Decibel Boost podcast, year-end 2019 Best of Spectacular Edition. I am your host, Robert, and I have no sense of impulse control when it comes to these lists. You'll see why in a moment. And with me, I have...
Is December over with already? I want it to be over. Go away, December. I don't like it anymore.
And...
I did this shit again. I added 5 more spots.
So
I guess I was the only one who had self-control this year.
Look, in my defense, 2019 was just way too good. Like it is insane. I mentioned this in our message history beforehand, but I easily could have gone full Fantano and made a top 50. Especially once you see some of the stuff I had to leave as honorable mentions. That's how insanely good this year was. God damn, this is probably the hardest year-end list I've ever had to do, whether it be on my own, outside of a podcast, or in the context of this podcast. I gotta show some restraint at some point, but apparently that's not gonna be this year. But anyway, I suppose we should probably start diving into these things immediately, so that way this episode doesn't run the length of certain Martin Scorsese films. I still haven't seen The Irishman. But
neither have I, and I got Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah, instead I've just been going to see Star Wars. Twice. Which is good. Y'all just being stupid.
Honestly, I'm just kind of waiting for Uncut Gems to come out.
Same.
So am I.
Why the fuck am I excited for an Adam Sandler starring movie? This is a weird reality we live in.
That's A24 for you. Pretty
much. So, anyway, let's actually dive into this. And as always, Mr. Alex is going to be the one that starts off this spectacular with his list. So, you have the floor.
Yes, I have a list of 20 albums because, again, I'm the only one with self-control, and I managed to give myself a cutoff because, I don't want to spend too much time going through all of this because December has been one of the most stressful months I've ever gone through in quite some time. There's just been a lot of fucking shit happening. That's sort of prevented me from going any further than I would have liked to. So, I don't have a script. I don't have a whole lot of notes. I'm just rambling off the top of my head, seat in my pants, the edge of my ass, whatever you want to call it. And I have here 20 albums that I consider to be my favorites of the year. It's not a best of list. It's a list of stuff I like.
Fair enough.
Apparently, I have my numbers mixed up in my little run sheet here. It's been a long month. I just want to go to the beach for my birthday already. But on with the list. So, rounding out, number 20, Mr. Sturgill Simpson's robotic, sexy rock opus, Sound and Fury.
I still haven't seen the Netflix movie yet. Damn it.
It's trippy. In a very good way. Yeah, this is sludgy, grimy rock and roll with a little bit of robotic country twang to it. And, yeah, I can confirm. The Netflix special, it's trippy, it's colorful. I wish it wasn't HDR, but, I'll take whatever I can get. And who knows, there may be more in the very near future. You never know with Kamikaze Doga. Yeah. It's a good album, a good hybrid of country and rock. It's certainly a lot better than other country albums that have come out in the past couple of years. Luke Bryan.
Ugh.
Yeah. Ugh. All right. Number 19, the latest outing from Lacuna Coil, Black Anima. Sort of a blend of newer, stripped-down metal styles with some elements that are more reminiscent of their earlier days from Comalize. Very good, very heavy, very dark, very gothic. I'm digging the edge that they're going for on this new album. It's pretty good. And speaking of good edge, because there's a difference, Number 18, Fever 333, Strength in Numbers.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty aggressive. Might be a little too aggressive for some, but giving this another listen in my past couple of weeks of trying to whittle this down, I forgot how good this was. It's a good pump-up kind of album. And I think I get why I like that poppy song Scary Mask. It has nothing to do with her. It's all Fever 333. Poppy's just...
This is true.
Weird. You know? A little too weird. Fever 333, Strength in Numbers. Inglewood, man. Very Linkin Park in a couple ways, but then it just goes off the deep end in that second half, and I like it. It's awesome. Number 17, Lindsey Sterling's dubstep anime homage to Greek mythology, Artemis. Yes, I've been sleeping on Lindsey Sterling for far too long. I do apologize for that. There's a lot of music I have to go to and to listen to, so I can't be in touch with everything. But yeah, this album, very damn good. Nice blend of melodic violin licks, I guess you could say, with electronic production. Interesting hybrid. It works here. Number 16, everyone's favorite cartoon metal band, Beelzebub's Pantheon of Nightside Gods. I love the comic. I like what they're doing. I like that they're getting more of a push with live performances from an unnamed backing band who will be playing the roles of the band in 2020. Yeah, all on the up and up. And the album's also really good, too. It's a nice blend of thrash metal, melodic death metal, and black metal, the kind that I don't get annoyed by, because a lot of black metal production sucks.
This is true.
Yeah. It all sort of coalesces into a fine mishmash of my kind of metal. It's excellent. I don't know if we're going to get a second album. I don't know if this is just a one-and-done deal, but I think Century Media has ways to get more from their artists. Or something, I don't know.
We shall see.
All right. Yeah. Now, this next one I was kind of iffy on, but it just kept coming back into my head every single time, wherever I went, be it on the TV, on the internet, on the radio. So, yeah, I caved in, gave it a listen, and it found its way here. That's just how it be. Number 15, Billie Eilish. When we all fall asleep, where do we go? This is a strange kind of pop album in that I can honestly say nothing else sounds like it. It's very unique with its stripped back and subdued presentation. Those very soft whisper vocals with electronic synthetic beats going around. I will say Bad Guy is still a very weird song with the last 50 seconds being completely disconnected from everything else, but going through the rest of the album, there's something to this girl. Her and Phineas, they have something going on. And obviously it found its way into my inner psyche since I'm putting it on my best of the year list, or favorite of the year list. I can't even keep track. So yeah, very good first outing. Now the expectations are going to be set even higher for a second album. And I hope she can deliver, because I don't want this to be a one and done. I see untapped potential laying dormant. I guess it's just a matter of time. Alright, number 14. Look at this. Second album in a row from this artiste. Tyler, the Creator. Igor. A good blend of Tyler's bars with some really romantic, emotional, sexy, I don't know the right term, but very good R&B work being fused in with an interesting narrative. One that I'm not even sure relates to real life with Tyler. I'm not even going to pry because that's not my place. Yeah, between this and Flower Boy, Tyler has got some good albums coming out. Who knew? Who would have known 10 years ago that this guy from the Odd Future group would end up becoming, well, Tyler, the Creator as we know him today. Who would have guessed?
Not me.
Yeah.
Who'da thunk it?
Who'da thunk it? All right, number 13. And let me preface this by saying this is not to say that this is the worst favorite of mine. It's just that there have been so many good albums. I just kept whittling, and this is where it ended up. Number 13, Slipknot. We Are Not Your Kind.
How did I know you were going to say that?
It's been a very good year with a lot of very good albums, and it just kept piling on and on and on. But yeah, this new Slipknot album, it's dark, it's heavy, it's kind of intimidating in a couple aspects. But if I'm going to be that guy, I may as well go full force with it and say I kind of like Point 5 a little bit more. Not to say that this album is worse off. It's still a very good album. But I guess I've just had more time with Point 5 to really internalize a lot of it. So who knows? By this time next year, maybe I'll come around and saying, this album was actually a lot better than I gave it credit for. But you never know. All right. Number 12 on here, Astronoid with Astronoid. A fine fusing of progressive rock, post-metal, and shoegaze. It sounds very, what's the word I'm looking for? Atmospheric? Heavenly? Euphoric?
Maybe
I
all
don't know.
three.
Yeah. Yeah, any of those three. Ephemeral, that's where I was looking for. Ephemeral. There it is. I've been kind of impressed with the no pun intended, but progression of the progressive rock subgenres, how it's sort of molded away, in a way, from the quote-unquote gentcore styles that we saw earlier in the decade into what we've been getting now with a whole lot of amazing underground bands. There'll be more to come later on. Yeah, this album from Astronoid, very good. If I'm being very vague, this is my way of saying go back and listen to the other episodes we did where I go in deeper detail.
Do it.
Yeah, do it. And, reward us for our hard work. All right. Number 11. What might be, I'm not sure, the final album from Children of Bodom, Hexed. I say that because I have absolutely no idea what's going on with this band.
Yeah, they just released a statement the day we're recording this, I think, and I'm still very confused.
Yeah, 3 of the band members own the name, but apparently there's going to be a working relationship to keep the name with Alexi Leo, and I just... Anyway, this album's really good. Best Children of Bodom album in, 10 years. But that damn monkey's paw always finds its way back. Which is a shame, because there are great riffs all over this album. Just so happened to be the curse. We get Knuckle Duster, but in return, the band completely splits apart in a very confusing way that I still don't understand.
It's a bitch and a half.
Yeah. Alright, top 10. Number 10. More weird, psychedelic, progressive rock with Thank You Scientist, Terraformer.
Oh, yeah.
Bit of a long listen at 85 minutes, but a very engaging one. It's basically what I would call Coheed and Cambria if they were a full-on progressive rock band who listened to a lot of Tower of Power and didn't have weird narratives holding them back. That's my best way to put it. I again, it's been a very long month. Forgive me if I'm not being as verbose as I would like to be. I just want the month to be over with. But, yeah. This Thank You Scientist album has everything I like. Complex structures, saxophone melding in with guitars, I guess that's pretty much all I like about progressive rock nowadays. I'm a very simple guy with simple tastes, you know?
Saxophones make everything better.
Saxophones!
Yes. Yeah. Very good progressive rock album. Make a night out of it, kids. It's a long listen. What's not a long listen is this next album, number 9, from Mr. Denzel Curry. Zoo! 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 Zoo!
Zoo! Zoo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy's on the rise. I'm hoping that for the next quote-unquote proper Denzel Curry album, we get more of this kind of style because I really like this. Sort of modern with a little bit of flair from not terrible rap. That's the best way I can put it because admittedly I did not listen to a lot of hip-hop albums this year because a lot of them just did not pique my interest one bit. Yeah, I think we're all just waiting for that new Kendrick Lamar album to drop at any day now.
Oh, it's gonna kick off the 2020s with a goddamn banger.
Yeah, as for Denzel Curry...
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, as for Denzel Curry, he's had quite a year. Doing stuff for Carol and Tuesday. Dropping sick beats for Madden. And yeah, Zoo. Very good album. We need more Dragon Ball and Aqua Teen drops in our rap songs, guys. Keep up the pace. Alright, now I'm going to get a little, as the kids have been saying for the last 3 months, controversial with this next one. At number 8, Ariana Grande, Thank You Next. And this has more to do with aspects of the production of the album, namely the tracks that had a hand in by one Mr. Max Martin, who, if you were like me, growing up with pop radio in the late 90s and early 2000s, you could not hear a song on the radio that wasn't written and produced by Max Martin. The guy was everywhere. And while he's had a couple of stinkers in the last couple of years, like Roar, Shake It Off, Can't Stop the Feeling.
Also, I don't care.
Oh.
He did that one too.
Well, at least he did good on this album. Thankfully, he didn't have a hand in Seven Rings, which, that's the one low light of the album. But go and listen to those deep cuts if you like some good pop music, especially in the year of our Lord 2019, where the pop scene has been friggin' dire.
Peter Capaldi. Or Louis Capaldi. I don't even fucking know anymore.
Yeah. Although I will have to disagree with Todd and the Shadows on one thing. Break Up With Your Girlfriend, I'm Bored is not that bad a song. It's a good bop. But that's just me talking. Alright, and at number 7, we go from the opposite of dark and bubbly pop to the inner workings of a mad scientist metal musician, Devin Townsend, Empath. The best way I can describe this album is the inner machinations of Devin Townsend's mind are an enigma. This album goes everywhere. Like you're gonna get some Broadway-esque Frank Zappa style rhythms, and at the next minute you're gonna get super fast gravity blasts with Chad Kroeger doing death growls.
Truly a wild sight.
This is a very strange album, but it also feels like the complete embodiment of Devin Townsend as we've come to know him over the last almost 25 years. Jeez, where does the time go?
Long time.
I still need to give Singularity a few more listens. It's 23 minutes of madness. I'm the guy who likes long music, but that's just all over the place. But in a good way. And from there we go to number 6. I dare say the best album from this band, if not ever, then in a long time. Whitechapel, The Valley.
Just outside the top 5.
Just outside, yeah. This is an example of a band changing their sound not to chase trends. Bullet from my Valentine. But to add a little bit of maturity to their sound. This is not the Whitechapel that I was introduced to with This Is Exile. Oh, no. This is, dare I say, a more richer Whitechapel, with elements of nuance to what they're trying to go for on this album, namely, the diary entries of Phil Bozeman's mother. Reading those terrifies me. Hearing them in song scares me a little bit more, and, special mention to the track Hickory Creek, which features mostly Phil Bozeman doing clean vocals. Imagine Ivan Moody if he wasn't a pretentious Tool. Because
that is true, and you should say it.
Because all this time you have Ivan Moody just sort of bitching and moaning about, oh, everyone's mean to us. Oh, Blabbermouth's so mean to us. Meanwhile, Phil Bozeman's going, my mother was really fucked up in the head. Sit down. Be humble.
Bitch.
Yeah. What an album. What an amazing album. What could possibly top it? Well, as you might guess from me and what I like, favoritism. Number 5. God, how many albums has it been? It's been a lot of albums, but Dream Theater, Distance Over Time.
Wow, I figured that would be at least 2 positions higher, if not number 1.
Oh, no. I'm going to tell you it's been close. I had to do a lot of whittling down, but, yeah. This is as back to basics a Dream Theater album as you can get, especially after The Astonishing, which I still like. Y'all are just stupid. And, I guess that back to basics approach, going out into a barn in upstate New York, having cookouts and writing music, seemed to have worked out for him. Great riffs, solid structures, funky bass lines every so often. And of course, the intricacies of Pale Blue Dot continue to completely baffle my mind. It makes it very hard for me to count in time with all those rapid fire time signature changes. And whatever the hell Mike Mangini does with his cymbals. Why do you stretch your arm so high, man? That can't be comfortable.
He's just showing off. And he deserves to.
Well, yeah, clearly. The guy's a frickin' machine. But, yeah. Very good album. And yeah, that's number 5. Number 4 is... Well, I don't really have a number 4. I was going back and forth on 2 albums in particular, trying to do the numbers, trying to figure out which one deserved higher ranking over the other. And it all boiled down to one question. Which do I like better? The 16-minute opening track of one album or the 15-minute closing track of this other album?
Ah, I see what this is.
Yeah, this was absolutely too close to call. So, I have no number 4, but I have 2 number 3s. Y'all get to share the bronze medal. Tool, Fear Inoculum, and Periphery 4, Hail Stan.
Hail him?
Yes. I racked my brain trying to figure out which would go where. I just couldn't do it. It was literally too close for me to try and put one atop the other. So, yeah, y'all are both going to get the Bronze Medal Award here. Tool, you get it for putting out, well, a goddamn amazing album after 13 years. Tempest is still one of the best songs I've heard all year. Wow. And Periphery, well, you went heavier and harder than you have on any of your other albums, so that's why you're up here. Also, Reptile is one of the best songs I've heard all year.
Preach.
Yeah. And there were some pretty good deep cuts on both albums as well. I can't talk. Like Invincible from Tool, and It's Only Smiles from Periphery, which I cannot listen without smiling because it's a very good song. Whew. So what could possibly top all of those? Well, here's a surprise that even surprised me. My number 2 is Baby Metal, Metal Galaxy. And it's for one reason only. Da Da Dance.
Oh my god, that freaking song!
It is so infectiously catchy. I cannot get over it. Then I go into more of the album with the features from Polyphia. Starlight, that amazing song. The incredible double shot closer of the album. So good. I dare say this is the best Baby Metal album of the 3. Which is kind of weird considering we're down a member on this album. But weirder things have happened, I guess. This does feel like Baby Metal taking over the galaxy, going to far-off regions of, well, the galaxy and the world at large, to bring some of their styles into our styles, like with the Polyphia feature. Surprising even to me, I know, but yeah. Very, 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 very good album. And now for the most predictable choice of my entire list, if you've been following us for the last couple months. And once again, I do have to thank Crash Thompson for this, otherwise I never would have noticed it. Moron Police, A Boat on the Sea is my favorite album of 2019.
Wow. I knew that was going to come up eventually, but I'm actually surprised that topped, let's see, Dream Theater, Tool, Periphery, and Slipknot.
This was the album I kept coming back to every single time. Whenever I feel like I want to listen to something, this was the one. I guess you can call this the Rivers of Nile Award winner for me. But this is a very strange album coming from the band who previously wrote such timeless hits as, well, Teabag Your Grandma and Grand Theft Bovine. And let's not forget that classic song, Go Home, Bitch! These are all real songs as well. I could go on, but yeah. Oh, don't forget Super Mega Awesome Couch. But yeah. This album feels like what would happen if you crossed Volbeat with Radwimps, put on some Spiral Gyra for them, and gave them 3 weeks to watch nothing but BBC News and Crunchyroll, and told them, write a 30-minute anime album. Holy crap, this was the biggest surprise of the year, and well warranted for being just as awesomely fun as it ended up being. It's weird for me to describe it, but a lot of these songs have what I call the anime theme song progression. You know, that kind of thing that you hear in every single anime opening for everything. Seriously, just throw a dart at any anime opening. It'll probably sound like a Moron Police song from this album. But I always go back to one song in particular, Isn't It Easy, with quite a closing passage. And so our story ends as it began, by waking gods to see them fall, but most of all we found ourselves in Hearts of Stone. I'm going home. I don't have to say it, but this year's been fucked. This decade's been fucked. A lot of things have been going wrong. A lot of shit's been burning down. We all collectively kind of lost sight and fucked a lot of things up. And this closing track, it makes me think of everything we've gone through over the last 10 years. How we're almost at the end of the decade. And yet we're still here. We're still here. We're still kicking. We're still fighting. We got a lot of work to do to clean some shit up. But I do believe if we keep on trucking, we'll be able to hopefully fix a lot of the things that have been wrong over the last couple of years because, oh god, dystopian fucking apocalypse is upon us. But if we can use songs like these as motivators, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape going forward. So thank you, you fantastic weirdos from Europe, for putting out one of the most sincere and awesome and, dare I say, politically charged albums of the entire year and possibly of the entire decade. Hey, Ministry, this is how you do it.
Ha suck it, bitch.
Yeah, so for that moron police, I will hoist your album high on top the pedestal alongside Dream Theater, Pain of Salvation, and Rivers of Nile as my number one favorite album of the year. Thank you, and my throat's very dry. I need to drink something.
You have earned that drink, sir. Well, quite an interesting way to start off this trio of countdown list things. Now, as always, we go now to the middle chunk of this spectacular, with Mark laying out his list in spoken form, because as we all know, he usually does manage to get, like, the actual written part up on his own site, which you should probably follow.
Yes.
Hint, plug, brand synergy.
Yeah. This I say before in the opening, wow, I know I picked 25 albums on my list with 15 honorable mentions. Which I'm going to do quickly because I'm just going to go to honorable mentions just really quick. What they said, here we go. The honorable mentions are Once Was Point Never, aka Dan Lapitan with the Uncut Gems original soundtrack, which yes, I put the soundtrack of a movie that I ain't seen yet, even though I want to see it, but yes, it's still, but yeah, I should, because it's still very good OPN sound, especially with you got a lot of some like 80s vibe going to there, which yeah, it's pretty good shit. All right, next I will mention we got Yugen Blackrock with Anima Mysterium. Gotta realize that came this year, right? Yeah. See.
Oh, yeah.
See. But don't worry, I got your back. This album's pretty good. It's sci-fi influenced hip hop, which yeah, it's all good. You have Flume. Hi, this is Flume, the mixtape, which Flume continues to be EDM producer that I actually like, that I can fuck with. Or this time it's more, more. It's like less of his last album, but more of what he's known for. But yeah, still good album. And basically, basically most of the Griselda solo projects with, let's see, Being the Butch with the Plugs I Met, Westside Gun with Hitler vs. Harvey 7. Yes, there are 7 mixtapes of 7 series of those. And Conway the Machine, Look What I Become. Okay, skipping that, we have Blood Orange with Angel's Pulse, which, is a very good epilogue to his last album, which I like very much. But yeah, this was pretty good too. Solange, When I Get Home, which I know people like the last album better, which I can see why, but hey, this is a good album to, to get some positive energy throughout. Like, I go back to all the tracks, this one, especially Almeida, which I gotta say, wow, this is the few times this year that people are Cardi doesn't suck on a track. You get why on another album later on, but hey, after that, 2 of those Swim projects, okay, Hyper Swim by Hyperdubbing them, and of course, Ghostly Swim 3 by, Ghostly, because yes.
Oh yeah, I still haven't gotten to that yet.
Yeah, yeah. Then we have Clans Casino Moon Trip Radio, which of course, just that classic Clans production, and that's it. Then we have Angel Awesome with All Mirrors, which, alright, we got a nice chamber pop, which I was digging with, and you know what? I heard like her and Dave Brown talking to it, like you said, they still I'm released on the same day. They figured, hey, we should collab sometime, which I kind of wanted to hear that now. Okay, we got Igloo Ghost, Kai Wilson, and Baby, whatever, with 2 eyes, with XYZ. which New Ghost, they produced some good wonky shit. Got Quilly Chris for Guns, which wow, okay, I still like that's not as much as the last few albums he did, but yeah, this is still very good, album he is. And the last I will mention is Calm Choose the Persuasion System. I just say I like this one better than his last album. That's all I got, but okay. Let's get to the real nitty-gritty with the top 25. And yeah, I'm going to keep this very short because, as short as I can be. Number 25, Kate Trinata with Bubba. You just had to tell me that.
She just had to come out at the end of the year with that.
They come a new album late in the year. I just have to. You just look
every damn time.
And I'll say this for his next movie, for this one, it's a different beast than 99.9%. Like, I will say this is more like, this is got more like these funky house R&B like dancehall vibes from it, which like these are tracks that you do play when you want a dance party, which is this is that shit that go for the vibes, the beats. Like this is just some grooving shit right here, and being that this is like his first album with his first on a major label since he signed with RCA. Which okay, I see this is what you want to do. This is something that I thought he would do, and you get all these guesses with from Sir, Mick Jenkins, Estelle, Tinashe. Where you at? yeah, all the guesses were pretty good in here. Even that one bitter fuck gold link on there. And yes, you know what? You know why I say it's a bitter fuck. You just look up something. You know why. But yeah,
that was so tasteless.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say that right now.
Yeah. Wait, me or him?
Gold.
Oh, okay. All right. Just checking. Because it is. But yeah, like while I think 9.9%, I like that one better. I still think this is a good album. The vibe to the dance to, like it's still a good album. This is some good groovy shit I get right here. So yeah, I'll see you, Kitchenada. Just wish at least a couple of months earlier where I can actually review it. But okay. Number 24. That is Miss Billie Eilish. When we all fall asleep, where do we go? Yes, I will say this is probably one of the more unique pop albums of the year. Even though I listen to a lot of pop music, like or maybe like leading on that genre, but yeah, this is definitely something I find very unique about. Like, basically what Alex said, like previous, like yeah, this is definitely something. She thinks has a potential with her and her brother Phineas. You do all these songs. Like, even though Bad Guy was the big hit, and that was a cool track. Still the other tracks in there, like You See Me in the Crown. That's a good bop. When the Party's Over, that was pretty good. Bury Your Friend, I still love that track, and like even the stuff that's off, like the after albums, after thing that she's doing right now, like yeah, this is pretty good stuff. She really has a future. She really has a future, and doing more of this good shit. We'll say there's more pressure on her now since what's next going to be like everything in there is like it got some dark areas like. The dark eerie shit from, the Brilliant Friends to the more, like I said, You See Me in the Crown was very bombastic in its sound, and Bad Guys just, got that really silly shit. And I'm gonna say this, I don't know if it's a hot take or not, it's probably not. I don't mind the trap breakdown at the end of Bad Guy. Maybe it's just me, maybe because like, it sounds, a lot better than when most pop stars try to use trap beats on their songs. I know it sounds better than me in here, but that's just me. Yeah, let's go on, girl. Number 23. Earl Sweatshirt, Feet of Clay.
Oh yeah, that happened.
Yes, it's EP, which, of course, it is. Yeah, it is, like, leftovers of, some rap songs, even though now he's on a new label, like, he left Columbia to do for Warner Records, and you got 7 songs, and You know what? It's all good. The song sounds like it's on good. Like even if people said that East sounds bad, like everything the East, I get. It's hilarious because we hear East. It's so like something you would hear from SpongeBob. It's like it got this like I noticed it's like from some like from a Eastern movie, Eastern like Indian movie or something shit. I kind of forgot the reference, but the shit just sounds kind of wacky, and I just love hearing it every time. And of course, other tracks like M Tomb, which is that track is so fucking good. What gotta be a minute and 10 seconds? and use Alchemist for the production, which man, that shit just hits. But yeah, like even though it wasn't as as top as some rap songs was, this is an EP worth checking out. But yeah, this is some good shit. Number 22, Aesop Rock and Tobacco, aka Malibu Ken. Yeah. This may be my first time going to a project here, considering the fact that I know what people talk. I know what people said, like you don't know what the fuck he's saying, and they're right. I kind of didn't, but the more I listened to the more like, yeah, this is it's definitely sound fascinating with him and this Tobacco, which there was some very unique hip hop, and I still say like one of my biggest favorites of that song is Suicide Big Gulp, which that does get you bumping your head for days. And Acid King will still haunt your nightmares. I mean, I ain't watched the video since then. I have it. I just remember it from memory when we covered that. Yeah. I didn't. Like I said, I didn't even watch the video like in a long while, but I still remember how it went.
Let me just say for the record, I don't know the name of the song, but there's like a really old music video by Korn that music video reminds me so much of.
Oh no!
I wish I could remember the name of the song.
Oh boy. Yeah, but like I said, Malibu Ken, they did it good. Now number 21, another late December release, the Free Nationals.
They finally put out the album.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and you gotta put it right on your birthday. Come to think of it.
Oh yeah. Why couldn't they put it out on yours? That would make more sense.
Come to think of it, this Kitchenada Any Uncut Gem soundtrack came out on your birthday.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And after this Free Nationals, well, we heard most of the songs. You get that all smooth like butter, slow cuts. Which again, it's like that soulful R&B. This is like music you make love to. This is like music you would just straight with the slow and fucking, but not like it's used for fucking. But yeah. And of course, you got a whole variety pack of who's on here. Like you got people like Jid, Kali Uchis, Mac Miller, you even got T.I. here. Hell, you got Conway Westside Gunn in here on the last track, which you would never think of. Which you never think when you hear Free Nationals and 2/3 of the Griselda gang in here. Which that's just wild. Like man, like I said, this album is. Not surprised that this snuck up on me, and yeah, it is just that good. I fucking dig this. Number 20. Here we are in the future. Yes, it's Steven Universe the movie, the soundtrack. Yes, Steven Universe missing my top list. And yes, I'm giving this to the soundtrack of a movie that sounds like a Disney musical, but not from Disney. but for real, this the musical has a lot of good moments, and especially with the breaking star being Sarah Styles, aka the What's But Now, with songs like Other Friends Just Away, and of course, like I said before, tell Steven that got the whole classic Disney movie vibe, musical vibe, and And while I'm not a huge musical fan, I'm not a huge musical fan by any means. Like I said, I still go back to this, like, you know, to watch the movie, and, you know, consider the movie is basically the soundtrack, because, you know, hey, it's a musical that didn't freak me out, or, you know, didn't get a patch for some reason, or just being unfinished. Also, watch Steven Universe Future. That shit, it's pretty good.
I gotta catch up on that. I got a lot of things I gotta catch up on.
We all do. 19. Monopoly with Monotonic. Now, I know you're wondering, who the hell is this? Well, we talked about this guy like a few months ago, which I said this dude is, you know, known for being part of Brain Feeder Camp, although he's on his own label now, and another label now. But yeah, like I said, this is something that reminds me of some Brain Feeder stuff, which we got from production, the beats, the weird guest features, which you got Kimbra here, which of course that's always stellar, and of course this is just a good blend of, you know, of electronic anything, like electronic vibe of any genre you put in there. But yeah, this is definitely worth checking out. Like, I didn't even know about this until I saw it on Twitter before. But yeah, this is definitely an album worth looking into. But yes, yeah, pretty dope. Number 18, Rich Brian, the Sailor. Yes, the kid formerly known as Rich Chigga will end up making a good pop rap album. Well, yes, this album was fine, but nothing worth revisiting back. But here, he makes an improvement of, you know, how he wants to be as an artist, because, you know, how he used to be back then. Now he wants to improve himself, you know, as a rapper. Which, okay, I kind of dig that with this, especially with, you know, him trying to experiment with some different production styles. Him trying to sing and rapping. But yeah, it's definitely a step up from what the 88 Rising Kid done did. Still pretty good. Like, it's like, you got some good songs in there. Kids, it's my favorite track of there. But yeah, and okay, and of course Yellow is definitely good. But yeah, Rich Brian, Rich Brian and the 88 Rising Gang, they do some good stuff too. And they bring the fire, and not just hot sauce. Number 17, Blue and Oh No. A long, red, hot LA summer night. A title that I would easily fuck up. I think we got to work it. But yeah, this collaboration, which got a of rapper Blue and Oh No, aka Matlib's brother, which wink. You got me in this conceptual storytelling rap album about, you know, this one night in LA and how much shit just happened there, and it just fucking works. It got that old West Coast sound, you know, from the G-Funk shit to the stuff that just bangs, even though it ain't a banger. It's definitely some good shit going here. But yeah, this album just coming by surprise on how you know, electrifyingly good it is. It just works like a fucking charm. Number 16, JPEGMAFIA, All My Heroes Are Cornballs.
Woo! Peggy!
Yeah. I got to the Peggy train finally. And I should have been early, because this is good. I know people he was supposed to be disappointed because it wasn't his last time. But yeah, this is definitely some good shit I'm hearing from him. Like, especially how he goes on, how he talks about how time schools and shit, like his time in the military with PTSD. He has a Jamaican heritage, which I think that one track about his sorrow, or T, you know, that shit. And of course, the one track I always go back to, which is Beta Male Strategies. And every time you see that lyric, I just go wild when he says, "Save you on Twitter right now. It's like right now, nigga. You baby with a mouse to the board, with a board and a mouse. We're talking about putting in the ground. Leave the house. Look at nigga with a motherfucking gown, and he does for a gown. I'm like, I was sleeping on Peggy, and I'm so glad I checked this album out. this dude just fucking nails it, man. Number 15. Yep, it's Griselda with What Would Machine Gun Do? Yes, now, again, I said it before when Griselda's sound was shady, I got a bit worried. But this album, it was so good. Nothing seemed out of ordinary. They do what they always do. They rap out the street shit, keep the same beats, keep the same beats for the same producers that no one loved. Like, this is an example of how, like, when your bread and butter works for you and it works for them. Granted, I wish we could do that one last track with, that track Bang we cover on Decibel Boost with Eminem on it with Conway. Well, there was a remix on that with the other two guys. The three main guys sound good, and every time I play that track with Eminem on it, it's say that gets worse every time I listen to it. But that's like 1 out of 13. That's 1 out of 13 tracks, and the rest are still fucking good. This is definitely Griselda. Now they're at the levels of the career. Like, they got signed. I mentioned label with Shady Interscope, and yes, they obviously touch. They still, even on the label, like, this is all good. Like, yes. Number 14, and I think it's the last late entry of December, because it is Rock Marciano with Marcilago.
Ha! Puns.
Yeah. He again, released this album late in the month, and I say this, I still fuck with this shit. Like, he has one track in it called Richard Gere, but it's spelled like Top Gear, like the gear, except which is kind of weird, but anyway, if you know Rock Marciano, since around with his with his smooth pimp gang shit, with his commanding voice on the mic, and of course he got this and of course his production always, it's gotten better. Like, I mean, it's always been good, but the production is really solid here. Like, especially when you got a production like songs like Choosing Fees. It fit. I can't say this one song. It fit. Okay, it's one song featuring Ka, who's on the album, who's on check as well. But that song sounded fucking good to me. It's good to me. Like, all these tracks, they all sound great. And while as of now, yes, it is on Spotify now, other services now, because he always does the whole he wants you to pay $3 for it, because, well, you forget indie rap niggas need money too. But Marcilago, it kicks, it bangs, it's good shit. Number 13, Gangsta Doodles for Gangsta Music Volume 1. The CD the album with the Pink Panther cover on it, and that's the thing I got tacked on my wall right now. This little mini post that he sent with the CD, which I bought. But yeah, you get a big commensurate tracks, which got all sorts of different types of gangster music. Like, it's not just one specific type. You got smooth, funky shit. You got the hard hitting trap shit. You got the even more experimental shit with it, which it's a mix of, it's a blend of some good shit, and I just love that about it. But you got people like Father, Kitchenada, Mindside, Matlin, but Oh No, which I am just loving this, and I really hope there's a part 2 of this. I hope there's a volume 2 of this. Please let it be a part 2 of this, because I just need it. I just do, man. Number 12, and you know what's coming. IDK, is he real?
Well, is he? We will never know.
Yeah. Oh, hey, the one rap album about that got something to do with God and religion. That isn't. Well, the other one that's
who shall not be named.
Right. I was gonna name, but yeah, like this this album that I have to think about when listening to this, because again, it doesn't do no sentimental shit about it. It's something that they, of course, this is a God in your everyday life, and the concept, and I like the concept of it. Was more, I won't say more of a sort of loose concept, but more of like, I mean, you still got some bangers like Porno over there, and of course some skits like some skits for the one with DMX Tyler Creator on it, and if we get the end of the album, you're just wondering, oh shit. And you think about the first album, which it made me think of the first album I listened to with, I Was Very Bad, and wow, this really got a connection to that, which also a bit fucked up about what happened to it, which you should probably listen to the album just to get some clarification to it. But yeah, Is He Real is definitely IDK continuing show why this dude is good, and man. And I know might be kind of controversial since, well, I think maybe the only guy that actually put on this list, because I don't think somebody else do it. But yeah, this is a solid album from him, a solid sophomore album from him. Number 11, we have Clippin'. There existed an addiction to blood.
Mm-hmm.
Now this album should be synonymous with Halloween every time. Like, whenever October comes along, this should be played, because this feels like a horror movie concerned with. This album will give you chills and spines, as the VDs always tells you the horror and the gritty and detail of every song in there. And as he raps, yes, he raps fast, but it's not just rapping fast just for the sake of doing it. It's actually telling you a story. Like, oh man, and I mentioned once, like, all the singles things he put out, which they all fit together, and of course my favorite single is still Lord Mata Ordina, which of course yeah, that's still a fucking banger. Like every song there always got their style. Even the one track with the piano burning for 18 minutes. But yeah, man, this album is definitely something. This album is excellent. This is an excellent clip, and again, this is a group I probably should be checking out more often. And now for the top 10, and I'll keep you at I'll keep you shocked because you're wondering who'll be my number one. You'll wait. Of course, number 10 we got Denzel Curry with Zoo. Yes. Now, let's be honest. We didn't expect, and I think it was expecting another project of him to come this soon, like after Taboo. And wow, this was like a short, sweet follow up to it. Like it ain't, and that's just that album. This is still like you got some great you got some good bangers. They don't drag, and this is just some good shit to listen to. And when this Curry, doing this and contributing to Carol on Tuesday, which we'll get that in a minute, sort of. But yeah, this is another great album from Denzel. And speaking of Floridian rappers or artists, number 9, Kitty with Rose Gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she continues winning, especially now she got her. Now she run her own label, her own label, Pretty Wavy, and of course she could be doing things with her other thing, with the pom poms. All that shit, but yeah, as before, like each song in this song got a vibe for them. Like you got one for the club, late night driving, at home, think about the sunset with that one in Miami, which again, that shit sounds good and sweet. Like it's a great pop record. It's a great pop record. One of the best I heard this year. Like this is a really good pop record from her. Like she again, which yeah. Anyway, number 8. Hey, what's this mysterious album doing here? Who are you? Oh, I know what it is. That I created with Igor. Yes, another unique album by the I would say former Odd Future, well, at least the like Alex said, you never thought this guy, the Odd Future, the Odd Future guy, would end up doing something like this right now. Come to think of it, most of Odd Future been doing a lot of different shit after the split, with Earl, Frank Ocean, the internet. But this album is still doing. Tyler Creator still continues to still do well. And while I will say like Flubble has stronger songs, but this one has like more great highlights. Continue to show Tyler mature as an artist, and again, he's a Bucks one. Like I say, it's rap, but it's more than just a rap album. Like you have rap, you have soul, you have some synth pop in here, you have some R&B in there. Like this album is not boxed in one specific genre of music. I wish the Grammy see it that way though. But still, we have another solid album, Tyler the Creator, and he continues to make on good music. Number 7, Danny Brown. You know what I'm saying?
Know what I'm saying?
Now, yes, it is a hard feat to the top the exhibition, because of course, yes, that's a very hard feat to do. But this is more of Danny, being in a better place now, since he is more, in his life, he's more, more relaxed, more trying to get his, trying to get his shit together. And the other, Matchsticks is more, chill and jazzy for the Q-Tip, since he being the, main producer and all. And while there's more, with next song, still get some best ones like, 3 Tears with One of the Jewels, and you get some moments with Peggy on Nickel Spiritual, which again, the dude has a very good singing voice, even though I thought that's real at first, but it's like, oh, okay, that's definitely Peggy. That's definitely Peggy. But yeah, like, Danny's just living his best life right now. Doing this, being in Grand Theft Auto 4, 5 downloadable content. I say 4. This album is good. Number 6. Oh yes, Freddie Gibbs and Madlib and Bandana.
Woo.
Oh yeah, the dynamic dude return back to make them great, and with some different twists too. Like, of course you know about we said Madlib working a trap beat, which this is his trap beat, not just some generic shit. This is like shit that he created on the iPad, which that's still good. Okay, that's still good. And Freddie Gibbs, Deuce the rest hard as ever. It can be funny. And of course, Deuce a funny motherfucker. Especially in that recent one of his videos, goddamn, where he plays like this 80s R&B singer, which I swear that video had that. He gets the worst people. He gets some people doing his videos like, goddamn, he got Slink Johnson as a singer, and of course the other one, Half Man, Half Cocaine, which he got Eric Andre as a fucking doctor, making these jokes like in the future now. In the future now, you got Trump care now. All the nurses got dicks, and where the movies used to be. Like, okay, that's just some weird shit. That's shit. But anyway, on the album is still great. It's still amazing. After 5 years, being apart, they still manage to sound great. And while they say yes, they're making another album called Montana. Yes, Montana. We like, yes, that's what they're gonna call. But yeah, I will say I want to know when, but I don't want to rush it. Just don't take another 5 years to do it. Like, maybe I don't know, 3. Shit, I can do a little wait, but don't wait too long, or don't get a lot of shit. But yeah, Bandana, definitely album worth checking out. Number 5, The Alchemist with Yacht Rock 2. Oh, Alchemist continues one of my favorite hip hop producers, and when he brings these, like you bring these lush and breezy production that feels like you're on a yacht, just hanging around. You hang out with a lot of Grammy rappers. You hang with people like Action Bronson, Rock Marciano, the Griselda Crew, among others. And this, of course, is 20 minutes. The whole album. Of course, think of an anime episode. You could play this while watching. I don't know, My Hero Academia or something. Like, we got a way to play with that. But anyway, okay. Anyway, part of this is the reason why I love hip hop producers for doing shit like this. Like, they could just mix the opposite of the production and the rappers in it, and then they can sound so good at it. This is just so it's amazing, man. I mean, I salute him for doing more shit like this. Number 4, Anderson .Paak, Ventura.
Ah, yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. The soul cousin of what meant to be the Oxnard Ventura double album, which I'm guessing it was meant to be like that. It's in the whole this thing with with Oxnard Ventura, which it's still what I think most people wanted from Oxnard. They wanted more that soulful Anderson .Paak, the funky Anderson .Paak, the one with the light instrumentation and organic production people wanted. And yes, this is definitely one of his best albums. This is definitely. You got the smooth shit like Come Home, Make It Better, Chosen One, King James. Like, this is Anderson .Paak, and this is Anderson .Paak and what people love him about the most. This is some soulful R&B shit, and I am down with that. Number 3, you might be surprised by this. Sturgill Simpson, Sound and Fury.
Only number 3?
Oh, okay. You're not surprised, but already you see here, again, he's an artist that I figured, this guy interests me, and when seeing the music, let's call it what it is, the anime is, a long music video, and it still looks awesome. He brings the hot and heavy shit to this album, like all sorts from sing along, which kind of sing along, like Remember to Breathe. That's a good joint, and make art not friends, which is like a very melancholic, a very melancholic joint, I'm liking it. Like I keep saying I'm liking this, but that's how I know that's how you know I love a track. I love an album. Like, got this good blend of rock, psychedelic rock, boogie rock, that 60 shit, the country. Like, this is artist sound blend, the one good piece of music, and this is just so high energized. I love this. It's good. I fucking love this. And number two, you might thinking, oh, this ain't number 1? Yeah, it's Flying Lotus with Flamagra.
Fire is coming.
Yes, and fire has came. Yeah, fun fact, this was almost number 1, because I had to keep fighting to see which one I think is my number 1 joint, album, but yeah, Flying Lotus, this is one of his best albums to date. Like, this is, to me, it's like a musical gumbo that has every jazzy, psychedelic, experimental, just really unique sound to it. Like, you get the smooth vibe for more of Anderson .Paak. You get the spontaneous with Lil Dragon. You get that throwback that throwback funk with Burn Down the House. The soulful move and decline with Thundercat. Which if you own a Snorlax, make sure he don't come near your Snorlax or Pikachu.
Oh shit!
Every time I can't stop watching that video. Every time I see the video, I'm wondering, is Pikachu screaming like Pika Pika or Ryan Reynolds singing no or some shit like that? I don't know. I don't know. It's just weird like that. But anyway, and of course, sounds like Yellow Billy and Black Balloon's Surprise from with Denzel Curry. wink, wink. And of course, with this year's been just oozing with Flying Lotus. Between this, him doing stuff with Carol on Tuesday, which drops tomorrow as we're recording this. Which when I get up, that's the first thing I'm doing is saying Netflix. I'm what? Yeah, but yeah, this is it's been a good year for Flying Lotus. I'm just all amazed with this album. And it's number 2.
What could be number 1?
What could be number 1? What could be number 1? Something has to spark. Like some sort of fire. A sort of fire that I need some tools to keep it happening.
I see what you did there.
Fire. Yeah, okay, yes. My number one album is Fire-Toolz, Field Whispers into the Crystal Forest.
Palace.
Damn, damn. What the wrong fucking... Okay, Crystal Palace. Okay. I should have seen this coming when, a while back, I said Plus Big Check Being was my favorite Adult Swim track of the previous incarnation. And listen to this album again and again and again. This is every experimental fusion vaporwave fancy dream to me. Like, I was sucked into. I was into this album a lot. Like, I was in another world listening to this. Like the beginning of it, you get the beginning of the song. It's like, to me, I don't know. Every time it reminds me of like of a past one. I'm thinking of playing either a video game or it's like with Clear Light. You get the good build up to get to the saxophone, which, oh my god, that saxophone set, yeah, it's so good. And you get other good stuff like hologram of a composite world of objects, which something like that you hear out of a 2000s JRPG video game. And of course, smiling at sunbears, screaming and sunbeams. You know, go to the check the whole. Like this album is just a fusion of everything electronic in every way that I love. It's just all it makes in one perfect package of music. And Fire-Toolz just brought out what they had. And I really cheer this album of how good it sounds. And man, and I know you're thinking, I know you're thinking that I picked this because of the whole thing. No, I didn't. I didn't. Like I said, we know we're biased, but not that biased. I picked this because it's the one album that I just simply love going back to. The one I just go back with every song to get in my head, to get my mind. This is an album I want to stay in my mind. I wanted to leave. I wanted to just make a home there, and that's just it. But yeah, this is something I just got to go for the rest of their discography now. Like I gotta get the rest of their music. But yeah, and the closest off, Fire-Toolz, Field Whispers into the Crystal Palace. It's my number one album of 2019. What a way to end the decade. The 2010s. Even though I've been doing this shit for 4 years now.
Don't worry, it'll be another 6. I've been doing this for a full decade. And then I don't know, who knows what music will actually look like in the next 6 years. Maybe it won't even exist anymore, and we'll all die in a horrible post-apocalypse. But I'm just rambling to segue us out of this. So, yes, that is Mark's Top 25. Now, to close out this spectacular, we, as always, go to me and my ridiculous lack of impulse control with the Top 30. Same as last year, and again, as I said, I easily could have gone to top 50. You'll be surprised when you see the stuff I had to leave as honorable mentions, but yeah, we might as well dive right into it, starting, of course, right with number 30. And this is an album that I thought it was good, but certain circumstances led to me kind of revisiting a bit, and I was like, you know what, maybe there is something here to it. My number 30, Whitechapel, The Valley. Now, I'll admit, a lot of Whitechapel stuff, like, I feel still maybe their best album of the decade was probably still A New Era of Corruption. Some of the stuff here and there in between that and now is kind of middling in quality, but here, I think they finally managed to make, like, changes and alterations to their style that managed to fit, because, you know, as you said, the lyrical subject matter is drawing from, like, the diary entries of Phil Bozeman's mother, so a more melodic and deeply mournful, melancholic tone in the songwriting just kind of fits better with a lot of it. You know, like with songs like Hickory Creek and When a Demon Defiles a Witch and all that. But the thing is, like, I found myself, like, listening to this album more and more in the past couple months. I think it had to do with the fact that, especially in the aftermath of this really ugly fallout I had with this one shithead that I thought was a trusted friend, something about just that anger drove me back into the arms of this album, especially with the song Forgiveness is Weakness, which, let me just say, it amazes me that that song wasn't, like, a pre-album release, like, lead-off single, because that is a top 10, maybe even top 5 all-time great Whitechapel jam. You know, a song that takes aim at a Phil's stepfather, and it has just some of the most beautiful, choice, angry lyrics in there, especially every time it gets to gather your friends and your family so they can watch me spit and piss on your grave. That is just a mood right there. Have I mentioned I'm angry about things? I might be. But yeah, big surprise of the year, that ended up on the best of list. So now to move on to the complete opposite of Whitechapel, number 29. And this one took 6 years to get to this point. Anamanaguchi, USA. This is one of my happy albums. I'm sorry, sometimes I just need that burst of, like, sugary sweet, like, musical endorphin rush, you know, built around just all that good electronic chiptune synths evoking nostalgic memories of, like, old school Super Nintendo games and all that. I mean, God, I still get chills from that album, the first single, Lorem Ipsum Arctic Anthem. You're fucking making me, like, feel things with a song whose lyrics and title are built around programmed dummy text. And yeah, there's plenty of quintessential, you know, jams on here. Some with, like, that fast, upbeat energy, like, you know, Sunset by Plane, On My Own. Some of the more chilled out stuff, like the CRT Woods. And then, of course, probably the best banger on the record, BSX, which is as quintessential a chiptune rock jam as it gets, complete with blast beats and guest vocals from the author of Harry Potter, Hatsune Miku. We're never letting that joke go. You'll never make me stop. But yeah, this is just the kind of thing I needed when I actually wanted to, like, feel happy and good about the world for once. Anyway, number 28. IDK, Is He Real? Now, I remember explicitly saying when I Was Very Bad dropped that I thought it was a very interesting album, but I felt like the album he would come out with after that was really going to be something special. And with all the hype that he had been dropping in the past couple years to the lead up of Is He Real, I was like, you know, you are talking a big game. I hope you can back it up, and good lord does he do it here. This is just a perfect example of why he's such a great rapper and songwriter, because he can hit, like, any beat that you want him to. Like, yeah, there's the overarching theme of, like, man's relationship to God and everything. Your tracks like, you know, Alone, December, of course, my favorite track, European Skies. And then, of course, you get, like, even weird-ass songs like Porno, which is just him spitting all sorts of, like, weird, slick, you know, bragging gangster punchlines. And he manages to do it so much more better and so much more creatively than so many other rappers that are trying the same shtick. It's like, dude, you can make this kind of, like, sex boast sound creative and interesting. Why can't y'all get on this dude's level? And then, of course, Digital, for me, is still, like, a choice banger. I still, like, hum that chorus to myself, like, all the fucking time. It is just so good, man. Yeah, this guy is definitely proving himself to be a real choice talent in the scene. Number 27, Pup, Morbid Stuff. Now, I've probably made it clear that, like, me and, despite the fact that I obviously work in a college radio station, some of the rock stuff that, like that whole indie rock scene thing is kind of, I can kind of take it or leave it. So I'm kind of surprised that this one kind of ended up being such a big highlight for me. But that's specifically because of the way its lyrics are written. Like, yes, it has that kind of twangy, indie sort of rock energy, but with maybe a bit more of a punk edge to it. I mean, this album did come out on Rise Records after all, so maybe some of that influence is creeping through. But the lyrical subject matter is so much more sarcastic, bitter, and snarky than most of the other kind of, like, lyrics you would associate with this kind of music. I mean, to cite just one example from one of my favorite tracks on the album, Kids, literally, like, the first couple of paragraphs of lyrics are like, just like the kids, I've been navigating my way through the mind-numbing reality of a godless existence, which, at this point in my hollow and vapid life, has erased what little ambition I've got left. God, that is such a fucking mood. And yeah, there's just all kinds of great, like, you know, guitar riffs, drum progressions, fucking the gang shout vocals being really catchy, and there's even a couple parts near the end that kind of get really heavy and almost kind of a proto-Mastodon-ish sort of way, which is a really nice surprise. That's just, this album is really just a really interesting kind of rock record from this realm. So, yeah, Pup, give it a listen. Number 26, Sturgill Simpson, Sound and Fury. This is just some fine rock right here. I can't say I really knew what to expect from a guy who mainly did, like, psychedelic bluesy country music, going into this kind of dystopian, psychedelic, groovy, synthy, post-apocalyptic funk rock sort of thing. Yeah, I know that's a lot of words I'm describing. Trust me, this album goes a lot of places. But it is a damn great rock record, with everything from tracks like Sing Along, being that really catchy, funky groove, to A Good Look, Best Clockmaker on Mars, Make Art Not Friends, and probably if I had to pick a favorite track overall, it would have to be the song Remember to Breathe. There's just something really cool about the vibe of it. Its grooves, that whistling, ominous melody that really feels like this is just the vibe of you walking through a ruined post-apocalyptic landscape. And of course, his vocals sound just great on all of this. Like, it really matches the tone of everything just so perfectly well. This is, yeah, Sturgill Simpson, man. He is really fucking good, and y'all should be checking out his shit. Number 25, Chris Devoe, With the Moon. Yeah, speaking of Adult Swim projects, the longtime in-house beat maker for Toonami, from the early days, even up through the current Adult Swim run, I kind of feel bad now that I wasn't cognizant of who he was until, like, 2-3 years ago, because listening to this album, this guy really does have, like, a real strong ear for creative beats and production. Like, you listen to everything here from tracks like, See Hugh, Face to Face, especially Disappear. There's so many really interesting, creative ticks from place to place. You know, from the floating ambient vibes, the stuttering, clicking percussive elements, all the strange melodic accentuations here and there. There's just a lot of really, like, dense material here, while also being, like, a really great record that you can absolutely vibe out to. Seriously, if anybody is, like, sleeping on Chris Devoe's production style and his works and everything, you should not, because this is some really just strong ambient electronic sort of hip-hop material. It is great, man. Number 24, Immortal Bird, Thrive on Neglect. This one kind of snuck up on me, because I was just checking stuff. This one kind of came into my view just while I was looking up stuff to do, like, a playlist for one of my radio shows one day, and I found myself deeply intrigued by this record. It's a really strong mixing of, like, grindcore, blackened death metal, crust punk, hardcore, with a lot of really incredibly strong, powerful, sharp production, from the hard-hitting guitar riffs to the huge, just fucking booming vocal passages to, of course, the actual drumming work on the record. Seriously, there is some really damn great performances here and there that, like, are complex, they're dense as hell, but they're also really groovy and are played really tightly as well. Seriously, the drumming is some of the best you'll hear, and that's probably a big part of like why it's on the list, because, like, you know, me as a drummer, I have a soft spot for that kind of thing. So yeah, Thrive on Neglect. If you haven't heard this metal record yet, you should. You're sleeping on some really damn good shit. Number 23, probably the latest arrival on this list overall, that being Cattle Decapitation, Death Atlas. For the record, let me just say, yes, I'm still pretty sore about the fact that I didn't get to see them live. Damn shame. Because I would have loved to hear, like, some of the cuts from this record performed live, because there is some incredible material on here. As always, the songs are really, like, grinding, fast, and aggressive. The vocals are, you know, booming with their deep, low growls and their ear-wailing, like, ear-piercing highs. The song structures are very, you know, intricate and aggressive, and the lyrics, as always, take their usual dim view of humanity for, you know, things like their treatment of animals and the environment, but there's something different about their sound this time around. There's a lot more of a focus on melody, and it seems to paint this picture not necessarily of anger, although that's definitely still present, but one of, like, almost disappointment. Like, when you listen to the song, like, say, Absolute Destitute, or One Day Closer to the End of the World, you get the sense that it's not just that they're mad at humanity for fucking the world up as bad as it did, but this sense of disappointment that they really thought we could have turned our shit around at some point between when their last album came out and now, and with how fucked everything's kind of been in the last few years, we just don't know anymore. And it's like, you guys should have been so much better. That being their view of humanity and everything. And it's like, God, that just stings so much worse, you know? But yeah, it's the perfect album for these dire times that we find ourselves in. Number 22, Baby Metal, Metal Galaxy. Yeah, hi, let me just reiterate for the record, Dada Dance has ruined my fucking life. It haunts every waking moment of my dreams. That is so unfair. You can't just sneak that up on us like that. Like, Jesus Christ, it is the most catchy thing in the world. Holy shit, it's like, and that's even before you get to the rest of the album, which, as the name implies, is definitely seeing the band trying to capitalize on their growing international success by incorporating more forward music styles, like the, you know, Bollywood influences of Shanty Shanty Shanty, the more Nordic kind of Viking influences with O Majinai, featuring, you know, Sabaton's Walkin' Broden, the more American School of Prague with Brand New Day featuring the dudes from Polyphia, and then, of course, Alyssa White Glues on Distortion, bringing some of those melodic death metal influences there. It's Baby Metal's galaxy, we're all living in it, and Dada Dance is going to be the jam from now until the end of fucking time.
Yep. Whoa, yeah.
Number 21, Moron Police, A Boat on the Sea. This is another one of my happy albums. I'm sorry, this is just so infectiously catchy of a prog rock record on every conceivable level. From the upbeat vocal performances to the, you know, anime OP songwriting bits from all the guitar melodies and the drum progressions and everything, to all the super cheesy synthesizer work and even some elements of, like, folk and country dotting their way through the mix from songs like The Phantom Below and my personal favorite track on the record, Captain Awkward. It's just, this is, I have no problem saying, probably the most slept on rock record of the year, which is a damn shame because music this creative and just, you know, inspiring deserves to be heard by more people. Number 20, Tomb Mold, Planetary Clairvoyance. And now we go from happy, upbeat prog to just the downest, dirtiest, filthiest hitting death metal that you're bound to find. There was a lot of that good shit here and there. I mean, remember, this is the same year they gave us a pretty damn good Pissgrave record, but this for me was kind of one of the ones that stood out above the pack. It was just a monster of a record. The production being kind of as brittle as it sounds, but still having a lot of weight, heft, and power to it, with its aggressive slow grooves to its driving fast blasts and rhythms. Just, it's a tight 7 tracks in 40 minutes, and not a second of it goes to waste as they craft these huge, suffocating atmospheres with songs like the title track, Beg for Life, Infinite Resurrection. This is a horrifying record to experience, but I mean that in the best way possible. Number 19. Flying Lotus, Flamagra. Did we mention that fire is coming? And it has come. Now, admittingly, I'm one of those guys who thinks the record maybe could have been trimmed down a bit here and there. You know, either flesh out some of the instrumentals or just cut out some of them entirely. But that doesn't change the fact that the material that's here is representing Flying Lotus at some of his most peak, production and songwriting prowess. Whether it be the solo production efforts of songs like Heroes, Postrequisite, Takashi, if I said it right this time, Andromeda, tracks like that, to, of course, the various fire as hell collaborations he has on this record, which are some of the best that exist in the Flying Lotus discography. You know, of course, there's the Anderson .Paak featuring track More, which still sounds like an R&B version of the Samurai Champloo OP. You have the weird spacey funk of Burning Down the House with George Clinton. There's Yellow Belly with Tierra Whack just saying titties in his face. That's still the funniest shit. Of course, who can forget the aforementioned Fire is Coming with that creepy ass fucking David Lynch narration. And then, of course, the absolute highlight of the record for me being, of course, Black Balloon's Reprise. Arguably the most serious sounding track on the record, because it's amplifying, the bars of one Mr. Denzel Curry, following up on the themes of Taboo, with, some of the more introspective lyrics present in his discography and just on this record as a whole. It is some supremely good shit. And, while we're on the subject, number 18, Denzel Curry, Zoo. And let me just make it clear for the record, Ricky is absolutely my choice for rap banger of the year. It is just the song I kept going back to from this record more than any other, because goddamn is it catchy as shit. And a perfect representation of the kind of attitude the album goes for. A lot of it is mashing up modern, SoundCloud trap rap trends with styles and influences from more the Miami scene of like the 90s, that whole Miami bass hip hop scene, just the general pop isms that you would kind of expect with the region. With that album opener Zoo, you got tracks like Speedboat, Yo, Shake 88. It's a pretty tight listen that demonstrates why Denzel Curry deserves the title of Best Lyricist of 2019, so saith Genius.com. The guy just knows how to fucking work rhymes no matter what the subject matter is, man. And yeah, I really can't wait to hear his shit on Carol and Tuesday. Also, you should check out that cover of Rage Against the Machine's Bulls on Parade he did earlier in the year, because it's fire. Number 17. Car Bomb, Mordial. This year saw no shortage of really good, frenetic, chaotic, fucking mathcore-ass records. I mean, remember, this was the year we got the reunion album from fucking the number 12 Looks Like You, of all things. But this is the one that I found myself coming back to the most, because I always dig Car Bomb's particular, really frenetic, jittery approach to these kinds of songs, where there's always this, slow, fast, kind of stop-start momentum to tracks like XOXOY, Fade Out, fucking, the title track. But this album seems to have a lot more of an emphasis on melody, especially with a lot of the vocal construction in songs like my most listened to track of the album, Scattered Sprites. It kind of creates this really interesting contrast to just all the freaky, heavy, mathy weirdness. It's that sort of, weird, just kind of all over the place momentum that somehow manages to feel, cohesive, despite how all over the place it is, because they're just masters at crafting a sort of beautiful chaos through their rhythms. Number 16. Blank Mass, Animated Violence Mild. Have I mentioned that Death Drop fucking slaps? Because I feel the need to mention that Death Drop fucking slaps. And of course, there's a lot of other great, electronic jams on here too, kind of mashing up like those more droney, sort of upbeat rave tendencies with some of the more heavier, kind of rock-esque kind of progressions here and there. From the beautiful melodies of House vs. House, or even the super catchy fist-pumping rhythms of like Hush Money or Love is a Parasite. But still, goddamn, Death Drop, holy shit. I'm pretty sure it's like at least half the reason that album is on this list, because seriously, the amount of times I listen to that fucking song, holy shit. Number 15, Torch, Admission. We got those major keys, sludgy riffs, and, fast songs, check. We got the really slower progressions from tracks like Submission, check. Does it match it up all beautifully with their usual ear for beautiful melodic construction amidst all the sludgy production? Check. But there's definitely a bit more of an emphasis with some more new wavy tendencies here and there, especially on the title track, which is just this gorgeous kind of melancholic, just slow grooving kind of song. It brings like tears to my eyes every time I hear it. It is just such a beautifully written song. One that kind of does well to offset, some of the more hard-hitting moments, like on tracks like Infierno, and of course the album opener From Here. Torch is just consistently on top of their game as always, and they absolutely deserve yet another spot on a year-end best of list. Number 14. One of two albums that this band had put out this year, and of course I go with the second one they did. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, Infest the Rat's Nest. A complete 180 from the smooth psychedelic boogie of Fishing for Fishies. This one sees the group delving into territory that throws back to the popular metal music of the 70s and 80s from, influences like Anthrax, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, wrapping it up with their usual themes of like environmentalism, and it's very clear this isn't just like some fluky, oh hey, we're just joking around making a metal record. No, they take this stuff seriously, and you can tell when you hit play on tracks like Planet B, Mars for the Rich, and especially Superbug, that they have a real ear for what made bands like Motorhead and Black Sabbath classic quintessential acts of the metal genre. They're not just talking the talk, but they're walking the walk as well. Seriously, some of the big, doomy, huge, sludgy passages on Superbug, and some of the fast, thrashier elements of like Self-Immolate and Organ Farmer are just, chef's kiss. And of course, let's not forget that Stu McKenzie, while still throwing in some of his weirder melodic vocal isms in there, the man absolutely can just belt out some hard, gritty, classic metal vocals when necessary, just tying the whole package together. Number 13. Wristmeetrazor, Misery Never Forgets. This was one of the first big albums out of the gate for me. I heard a lot of hype through the grapevine about this being like a great screamo band and this being their full-length debut. I had to check it out, and holy shit, this is a kind of album that like I really desperately needed as far as like new like screamo shit. And I don't mean like Warped Tour screamo. I mean like this is legit like that good screamo shit. There's some chaotic fast rhythms in here, and songs like In Line for Halos and XOXO, Love Letter from a Loaded Gun, or especially Expiry Date 12 Hours. There's a ton of those, like, vicious, throat-shredding screams with those kind of more spoken word and kind of mournful vocal passages here and there, especially with Come On In, The Water's Pink, which is one of the more somber tracks on the record. And while this year was really good for a lot of similar acts like See You Space Cowboy or Gift from God, this is the one that I got the most mileage out of. Hell, it's literally only a 20-minute listen, so if you have the time, just check out this record. It is some fucking powerful shit. Number 12. Inter Arma, Sulfur English. Now, I don't know if I made this clear, but I kind of have a certain thing for very, like, long, drawn-out, doomy kind of post, sludge. You get the idea. That whole realm of music is kind of a soft spot of mine. and this is one of the ones that, like, did it the best for me. It took me a while to come around to Inner Arma in general, but once I did, and especially with this album, there is just a ton of complexity. It has its, hard-hitting moments with tracks like a Citadel and a Waxen Sea. There are some of the really long, just drawn-out, doomy, ominous tracks like Howling Lands or The Atavis Meridian. And then you have tracks like Stillness, which are on more of the melodic end of the spectrum with just this really hauntingly beautiful progression as it, starts off soft, but then it swells and more until the full band just explodes out and, those vocals still maintaining that kind of mournful, melancholic, clean tone to it. There are a lot of layers to this album. I'm pretty sure I still need to give it another listen or two, because I think there might still be stuff I'm missing here, but that just speaks to how compelling of a record it is. And now, just outside of the top 10, number 11, Periphery 4, Hail Stan. Now, I don't know how many of you checked your Spotify or Apple Music year-end wrap-up things that they always do, but fun little fact. You want to know what it said my number one most listened to song of 2019 was? This album's lead single, Blood Eagle. And I have absolutely zero regrets about that, because that has grown easily into a mandatory top 5 Periphery fucking banger. God damn. Those huge chugging riffs, those really complicated, like, syncopated drum rhythms and progressions. And God, just that one moment where he just lets loose on the screams of that "No grace from heaven" line. And God, just that whole bridge in there. No man or woman escape the fire. God, that just sends a chill down my spine. And I'm pretty sure that's like 90% of the reason why that album is on this list. But that's not to say that the rest of the album isn't similarly on point. I mean, remember, that's just the second track that follows up the monstrous, like, near 16-minute opener Reptile. And then for Blood Eagle to be followed by Church Burner, which is another fucking aggressive banger, following into fucking Garden in the Bones, which is one of the best melodic tracks they've ever written. And then, of course, you get fucking, like, Sentient Glow and Satellites closing things out. This is the best thing they've written since Juggernaut Omega, and right now those albums are still competing in my mind for, like, what is very possibly the best Periphery record. That's how much I'm still thinking about this. And before we get into the top 10 proper, let me actually run through my honorable mentions, starting off with what were probably the 2 toughest cuts I had to make. First up, Oozing Wound with High Anxiety. Yeah, remember when they landed number 3 on that year they released their last album? This one, oh my god, it was so close. Like, it was neck and neck with Whitechapel for me, but, like, ultimately I give it to that. But that doesn't change the fact that, like, High Anxiety still sees some really excellent, gritty, rough thrash coming from these guys. And it's got a great boost in production that makes everything just hit that much harder. And then, of course, the other really tough cut I had to make, Tool, Fear Inoculum. Oh, I guess you would call that either the number 31 or 32 spot, depending on your perspective. Look, I actually listened to it a lot more once I got the physical CD, and it's a good record, don't get me wrong, with, of course, Tempest soaring high above everything and all, but, like, I don't know, I still feel like we need more time. Like, I feel like I have to come back to this, like, a year from now, just to really see where it fits into the big scheme of things. But it doesn't change the fact that I still got some pretty decent mileage out of it.
I am shocked to hear that.
Look, there were a lot of tough choices, man. This is why I said I could have gone top 50. But anyway, moving on to the other honorable mentions. Health, Volume 4, Slaves of Fear. Another really tough cut. There were a lot of great jams on here, mashing up those more, like, industrial tendencies with those mournful, melancholic vocals. Seriously, there was just some good songs on here, but the other albums were kind of better. The number 12, Looks Like You with Wild Gods. Yes, the much anticipated comeback after at least a decade sees them sort of maybe sanding down some of the rough edges, but still preserving that chaos, focusing more on melodic progressions and weird sort of jazzy tangents here and there. It's still a damn strong comeback, and I hope they get to stick around for a bit and maybe do another album or two. Lil Nas X, 7. Look, I know everybody's thinking, oh, it's just a meme, but like, I really liked this EP. What can I say? I was kind of surprised actually by just how much it leaned into nods and references to 90s rock music motifs, but that's kind of why I like it so much. It's just got this unique vibe to it, even outside of the country rap of Old Town Road, that just feels sort of similar to and yet different from so much of what's going on in the mainstream of rap music at the moment. He just deserves the success he's getting, man. And we should also make more jokes about how he dresses like a JoJo character. Billie Eilish, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Admittingly, this is because I got to this one really late. I just kind of heard it while I was in the middle of doing some Grammy albums catch-up, and like, okay, I feel like the album loses a bit of steam towards the end when it goes to its more basic kind of Lorde-esque somber ballads and everything. But roughly the first half or so, when it's her doing those weird, kind of moody, just kind of offbeat, electronic, laden, synthy pop jams, that's where the album is truly at its best. And yeah, I still think probably the single best drop I'll hear all year is the lead into the chorus of "You Should See Me in a Crown." I still fucking hum that shit to myself like almost every day since I've heard it. Sum 41, Order in Decline. Yeah, that was another really tough cut, because the year of our Lord, 2019, I really enjoyed a Sum 41 record again. Like, there are some really great, just aggressive hardcore and rock bangers on here. Some of the more, like, in-between stuff with its more melodic tendencies here and there, kind of but when the album is on fire, fucking Derek and company just know how to fucking tear it up. Seriously, there are some jams on there. JPEGMAFIA, All My Heroes Are Cornballs. I told you, tough cuts, man. Yeah, Peggy, look, okay, don't take this the wrong way. Just because it's an honorable mention doesn't mean there isn't good shit here, because there is tons of good shit here. It's Peggy being, fucking weird as hell with tracks like Jesus Forgive Me, I Am a Thought, Grimy Waifu, JPEGMAFIA type beat, and of course beta male strategies, calling out the fucking internet shit talks and everything. This is Peggy doing what Peggy does, and if he meant to disappoint people, well then, you're wrong. Ghost with Valediction. Yeah, kind of surprised this one didn't make the top 30. Ultimately, I feel like I got more mileage out of his last album, Possessor, than I did with this one, but it does change the fact that it's still a pretty solid slice of dark synthy goodness that finds a way to, cut more to 80s new wave trends and incorporate more melody. Malibu Ken, self-titled. I'll just repeat Anthony Fantano's statement on the record. This album is pure fun for total fucking weirdos. And yeah, we should totally hire someone to clean out Aesop Rock's car if it's still filthy. Infant Annihilator, The Battle of Yaldabaoth. No relation to Persona 5. But, yeah, this being just some really heavy, intense, brutal as shit fucking technical death metal, that's just fucking constantly pumping in your face, flooring it all the way from track to track. It is goddamn nuts. Dream Theater, Distance Over Time. Again, another one of the really tough cuts I had to make, because I did listen to this a lot more times than I did The Astonishing, because, it was a more compact listen. There was some more aggressive bangers here and there. Like, this is definitely more, if I had to pin what's my favorite kind of Dream Theater album, I would say this one. Of course, as I previously mentioned, See You Space Cowboy with the correlation between entrance and eggs and wounds, and Gift from God with Approximation of a Human. Two really great, like, kind of screamo and hardcore records that were kind of, worming their way under the radar, or maybe just under the radar, that had just so many really good chaotic moments to them and some great just energy to it and everything. Venom Prison, Samsara. This one was drawing up a lot of hype in the death metal scene because, what can I say, it's a really good metal record. Really aggressive, chaotic, and thrashy with its, hard-hitting grooves and D beats and everything. Yeah, just good stuff. Norma Jean, All Hail. I kind of get the divisiveness with this record at points, but at the same time, I still feel like, while maybe not the best Norma Jean record, there was still some absolutely solid songwriting on that project with, especially tracks like Mind Over Mind and Trace Elements of Dystopia. Just lots of good stuff on there. Danny Brown, know what I'm saying? Yeah, again, another tough rap record to cut, but it was just because this year was too good. Sorry, Danny Brown, but look, I'll still listen to you talking about how you did the Humpty Hump in a Burger King bathroom, alright? You still get that much. This next one being one of those Crash Thompson recommendations, the Callous Dowboys Die on Mars. Do I enjoy me some of that chaotic, mathy good shit with plenty of sarcastic, offbeat songwriting ticks and lyrics here and there, man. Just, this is the good stuff. These two I'm pairing together because they feature a shared artist. There's Zonal with Wrecked and More Mother with Analog Fluids of Sonic Black Holes. More Mother guesting on the entire first half of that Zonal project. Both of them combined represent a lot of really great, creepy, slow burn, industrial jams that just kind of seep under your skin and make you really fucking uncomfortable. Y'all are gonna be surprised that I'm the only one that doesn't have this on my best of list. Tyler the Creator, Igor. Look, I'm sorry. It's just, again, tough year. Do you believe me now when I say I could have gone top 50? Don't test me on this. It's just, God. But still, this album is still really good, showing a natural progression of the production and lyric writing tendencies that he was going for on Scumfuck Flower Boy. Delving more into his personal, romantic torment and angst while still going to, the usual weird Tyler isms here and there. Of course, Children of Bodom with Hexed. Best album they've released in a decade. Still very confused as to what the hell is going on with the name right now. It's a whole mess. And even if this is the last we ever get of Children of Bodom in this incarnation, I still say this is a hell of a note to go out on. Exorder, More in the Southern Skies. I stand by what I said in the album roundup. This is still the best Lamb of God album we got all decade. Dead serious. Okay, just got two more honorable mentions here. Ithaca, The Language of Injury. Again, another one of those really, chaotic kind of hardcore / post-hardcore records that got some hype, but I still feel like is maybe a bit underrated or slept on. Yeah, I know it didn't make my list proper, but still, it's worth putting here because it's good stuff. And last of my honorable mentions, Blood Incantation, Hidden History of the Human Race. This album is 4 tracks and it ends with an 18-minute prog death metal epic. I'm just saying. Chef's kiss. Alright, with that out of the way, now we can dive back into the top 10. Starting with number 10. Cult of Luna, A Dawn to Fear. Again, this one in the same vein of Enter Arma as just one of those huge, doomy, sludgy, posty kind of metal records that very much earns the title, something that said a lot about their music, as one of the most cinematic bands in the metal scene right now. Just when you listen to tracks like The Silent Man, Lay Your Head to Rest, and of course the longest track on the album, the 15-minute highlight, Lights on the Hill, you're not really sure if there's an actual narrative here. There very well could be. I wouldn't know off the top of my head. But there's just something about the composition of the music, the way it feels with its slow pounding, building drums, its layers of sludgy building guitar rhythms, and of course its huge, epic, bellowing vocals. The way it all swirls together into this big atmospheric thing that just feels like there's some kind of narrative at play here. It's really compelling material to listen to. I understand it's not for everyone, but if you find yourself curious enough to give it a try, it is an excellent record to kind of vibe out to and just let the feelings of it take you over. Number 9. Astronoid, self-titled. We could very much call this the last of my happy records on this album because god damn, is this just such a gorgeously produced, beautiful kind of post-metal record. It's very spacey, atmospheric, with, those echoing, clean vocals that just God, it's just, again, I know it's weird to use the word beautiful to describe a metal record of all things, but the melodies and the songwriting of everything is just so gorgeous. It makes you just feel like at one with the elements, especially with tracks like A New Color, I Dream in Lines, and probably my personal highlight of the song Water. It's just good stuff all around. Number 8. Full of Hell, Weeping Choir. From the band who held my number 1 spot in 2017, obviously they didn't make it to number 1 this year, but still in the top 10, which is damn great, because Weeping Choir is, as always, a nightmarish, hellish experience that just leaves you feeling just drained by the end of it in, like, the best way possible. This album kind of sees them go back more to the style of, like, their first 2 albums, which, trying to incorporate back a lot more of the, noise and distortion elements and some of the doom aspects here and there. You hear it immediately from tracks like Burning Myrrh and Haunting Arches. Of course, there's the noisy onslaught of Rainbow Coil, which is just, drums and synthetic distortion. And then, of course, there's the highlight for me, the longest track on the record, the near 7-minute highlight, Armory of Obsidian Glass, which just sees them go into that very doomy, just aggressive atmosphere while, it builds and builds, just that really creepy vibe with those scream vocals and those, ominous melodic highs, courtesy of, I believe it's Kristen Hayter from Lingua Ignota, because I know she's collaborated with Full of Hell in the past. It's just, God, this is a brutal, suffocating record that'll leave you into a fucking mushy mess on the pavement. Number 7, Fire-Toolz, Field Whispers into the Crystal Palace.
Ooh.
A record that combines elements of chillwave, ambient electronic, 80s yacht rock, metal, and screamo. This is not a thing I knew I needed in my life, but from the introduction via Checkmark Being to the album's release with tracks like The Warm Body, A Blessing in Removal, April Snowstorm, Idyllic Mnemonic, The Pain Body, Wild Energy Spheres, Hologram of a Composite World of Objects, just everything that the album is doing is just such this unique, strange, bizarre kind of package that is infinitely compelling to my ears that I had to just keep listening over and over again. I mean, I did eventually find the time to go back to listen to all of Fire-Toolz records, and yeah, this is very easily, like, Fire-Toolz' best record to date. If you're sleeping on her shit, then just don't do that. Listen to Fire-Toolz, and then, now that I think about it, I gotta check out more of Angel Markwood's stuff, because this is just so doing it for me right now. Number 6. Before I get into what this album actually is, I feel like I need to say this preface. Now, I understand that art is not meant to always be pretty. A lot of people use art as a method of catharsis, where they can explore the most challenging, disgusting, ugly elements of the human experience and condition. Use whatever phrasing you want, perhaps you choose to insert that speech from Duckman or whatever. But at the same time, though, I feel like I need to preface this album because it's the one I kind of have the hardest time recommending because of how deeply uncomfortable the subject matter is. But if you find you can brave it and you feel a certain sense of catharsis from hearing stuff like, say, domestic abuse being sung and written about in as brutally uncomfortable detail as possible, then number 6, Lingua Ignota, Caligula. I still have nightmares from the first time I ever heard Do You Doubt Me, Traitor. It is the prime example of just the album's tone as a whole. The songwriting relies on a lot of these sparse but suffocating, almost kind of medieval compositions with like minimal pianos, these kinds of droning string and horn elements, with Kristen Hayter's vocals just very sparse in these uncomfortable fashions, from how spread out the vocal passages are to how they switch from mournful singing to just really deeply uncomfortable screams, like she's having this really frantic, uncomfortable breakdown because of the fucking abuse that she has to take from like all her relationships that she's ever been in and everything. It's just, I find it no coincidence that this album came out within roughly the same time span as the movie Midsummer, a horror movie where a lot of the real horror from that movie comes from the abusive gaslighting relationship that the main character finds herself in because her boyfriend is just that kind of a self-absorbed asshole prick. It's just, it's horrifying, but that's what makes it such a compelling listen. And also, may failure be your noose. Just, yeah, this can be a tough one to get through. But now here we are at the top 5. Number 5, Uneven Structure, Paragon. Now these guys have long been, for me at least, probably the most underrated band in the gent field. Granted, they've only had like 3 full-length albums, starting from 2011, and then their next one came out in 2016, and then we have this one here. So they haven't been cranking out as much as, say, Tesseract to Periphery or whatever, but it doesn't change the fact that their material is some of the strongest out there. It's absolutely fucking cosmic in its scale, and I know a lot of bands try to go for that, but really the way you listen to this album from, its aggressive fast rhythms of songs like Hero and Jester to the big, huge grooves of songs like Innocent, this is just a record that, from its riff writing to its complex, dense drum rhythms to its soaring high vocals and especially more deep bellowing vocals, is one that manages to be just galactic in its songwriting tendencies. And when it's not being like, melodic and beautiful in some of those songs, it gets downright nasty. Seriously, the growling vocals on here sometimes get so nasty, they're almost reminiscent of like Whitechapel, especially on the song Jester. It's just, God, there is just some really great djenty prog material on here that, if you're still sleeping on Uneven Structure, don't. Vive la France. Number 4, Meth, Mother of Red Light. This is easily the best debut album I've heard all year. The one where I'm like, I immediately need to hear whatever the next project from this band is. It's very much in the vein of bands like Ken Mode and like, Wristmeetrazor. Bands like that where there's a lot of aggressive... Oh, also like a Cult Leader or, fucking Call of the Void, who sadly had to call it quits this year, where the rhythms are very dingy, very, like, uncomfortable in their construction, with a lot of fast, frenetic passages, creepy, just weird guitar work, the vocals that, go between those, like, somber, doomy cleans and just those harsh, aggressive screams. When you're listening to tracks like, especially Child of God or Her Womb Lay Still or Inbred, they kind of go between all of that, where it's just like building these creepy atmospheres, whether it be the slow kind or just kind of throwing these chaotic, frenetic, mathy passages at you. This album is fucking creepy, it is horrifying, it is nuts, and I fucking loved every second of it. Number 3, Devin Townsend, Empath. I know what you're thinking. Only number 3? Only number 3? But yeah, even if it's only just number 3, that doesn't change the fact that this album is seeing Devin Townsend, perhaps more so than any other record in the past, just kind of taking the kitchen sink approach. He's throwing everything he can at this project. I believe I described it in our album roundup as like a great past, present, and possibly also future of his whole discography, because you have like those gospel-y new age hard rock elements from like his DTP efforts on stuff like Genesis, Spirits Will Collide, Evermore, and then you get like some of the nastier passages with tracks like Hear Me and parts of the Singularity Suite, which get so heavy and fast and aggressive that they almost kind of call to mind material from the Strapping Young Lad days, which almost kind of seems intentional, because he said in interviews recently that he's going to be playing some Strapping Young Lad material on some of his upcoming tours because he's not afraid of it anymore, which is good, because again, for this album to kind of chronicle the big picture of the Devin Townsend experience, you kind of need the heavy shit, and there is some good heavy shit on here. There's some great melodic shit on here. It's just all the symphonic tendencies and everything in tracks like Why. It's everything. It is all the Devin Townsend and more in just one record. Number 2. Now this one kind of snuck up on me a little bit. I was listening to all these albums trying to sort everything out, and I was like, I'm not sure where this one's going to land. Is it going to be top 15? No, it keeps going higher. Top 10? Higher and higher. Top 5. Wow, it's going... holy shit, number 2. But you know what? The more I thought about it, the more it kind of fits there. Clipping. There existed an addiction to blood.
Oh, shit.
This is, bar none, the best rap record of the year, and I will hear no words to the contrary. Motherfucking Devoe Diggs is some kind of a goddamn mad creepy genius. With this album, you know, switching away from the sci-fi motifs of Splendor and Misery into one that is just straight horror from beginning to end. Nothing is Safe makes that clear right away. It's horrifying, grisly lyrical details of cops shooting up a trap house, featuring musical production that evokes the imagery of John Carpenter's Halloween, because that feels like exactly the kind of thing that John Carpenter would probably like make a movie about, is if he were still making movies today. There's the creepiness of tracks like He Dead. Just seriously, the way that line just keeps getting repeated over and over again. Fucking Club Down, you know, remains my most listened to track on the record, because God, just that haunting, just like percussionless beat of just like that fucking industrial noise echoing out as, you know, David is rapping all those bars over top, and then Sarah Burnett's just screaming in the background, just creating this fucking vivid nightmare pastiche, because, you know, ain't gonna stop none of that gangsta shit. Of course, fucking, Blood of the Fang still being an absolute fucking banger, you know, commenting on America's history with race and violence, in particular relating it with a lot of lyrics and references to iconic black poets and revolutionaries throughout American history and just world history in general. And funnily enough, La Mala Ordina was the single that I originally thought the least about when it first came out, but the more I listened to it, the more it's like, it slowly became like one of my top favorites, really more because of the bigger picture of its composition, you know, being a track about motherfuckers who think they can get into the gangster game because of what they see in, like, movies, television, and rap music, but then once they actually get into it, they realize, yo, this isn't a fucking game, this is real life, this shit ain't, we fucking kill people on the streets, like, you know, if someone getting brain, that means it was nice to know you, and of course working in a lot of clever references and imagery too, like, you know, filmmaking, you know, terminology and everything. And then, of course, with the choice, you know, vocal fucking verse contributions from El Camino and Benny the Butcher, adding that grimy street rapper vibe to contrast against David's more sharply, you know, kind of literate style. And then as it gets to the end with the subject being tortured to death and the Rita just kicking in with all that fucking noise, it's just, it is such a thoroughly well thought out, composed track from beginning to end. And this whole album as a whole is just, it's a hip-hop record that manages to be more shit-your-pants terrifying than a lot of the actual, like, metal records this year. Let me put it like this. This came out the same month that Exhumed put out an album literally titled Horror, and this album was scarier than that. And now, well, I mean, let's be honest. We all know what my number one is, so let's not waste any more time. My number one album of 2019, Slipknot, We Are Not Your Kind.
More predictable than mine.
It just kind of wins by default, because, like, do you not understand how long I had this album on repeat from when it came out to now? I literally did not take it out of my car for at least 1 or 2 months. And that's to say nothing of the fact that my Spotify wrap-up said that Slipknot was my artist of the year. And it's like, literally, how could it have been anything else? This is the best album they've come out with in at least 15 years. It's one of their most complexly written. It has so many weird experimental songwriting tics that kind of seem like they try to draw across all kinds of eras, from like the OG nu metal influences on songs like Nero Forte and Critical Darling, to stuff like, say, Orphan and Red Flag, which call to mind that fucking vicious Iowa era just brutality. Orphan especially is one that, like, that is just an all-time classic jam, right down to some of the more weirder beats here and there, like the doom metal influences of A Liar's Funeral, or, of course, the creepiness of songs like Spiders or My Pain. And then, of course, there's the album closer Solway Firth, which is just a hell of a way to close out a Slipknot record. Easily the best album closer they have ever written. I think I can officially come to that point now. And just the chills it sends down your spine, from the excellent riff writing to the, rhythm section work from all the extraneous percussion. And of course, as mentioned before, Alessandro Venturelli and Jay Weinberg finally getting to feel like, they're adding more and more of their own personal influences into being a part of the band from everything, especially from, like, the halftime grooves of tracks like Birth of the Cruel and Unsainted. And just as it closes out on those closing moments, when Corey Taylor decides he wants to scream, "You want the real smile? I haven't smiled in years." I just... Chills down the spine, man. God, I could go on. I could go on further and further, but I think my fanboyism has probably made it clear at this point. The last #1 album of 2019 that I will crown, Slipknot, We Are Not Your Kind. Hell of a way to finish the decade, man.
Should have had All Out Life on it.
Abso-fucking-lutely. That probably would have made it even more #1 best. But I'll take what I can get. So, damn, that was a long-ass listen. Thank you for sticking around through this for the past year or so of the podcast and everything. And hopefully you find some music that you maybe missed, or maybe you want to let us know what your favorite albums of the year are. Do that. Maybe there's some stuff we missed that we didn't get around to. Because, seriously, again, did I mention I could go top 50? Just, God, this year was too good. But yeah, thank you for listening to the entirety of this. We'll, of course, be back in 2020 to begin more of the usual shenanigans. And until then, let's just wait for this decade to finish, because reasons.
Many reasons.
Eat sleep.
This has everything I like about progressive rock in our modern day. Complex. I am not talking too much. You hush your mouth.
Sorry.
No. I'm just trying to work it in. But, anyway.